Calibrating cybernetics.
Talk to him now.
AT, Andre.
Come on, Dre.
Yep. Trippin with Let's Go. Woo! Trippin with Theobold.
What's your name?
Theo so bold.
Yeah.
Driggity. Let's go. Trippin with Theobold. Trippin.
What are we doing?
Trippin with Theobold.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. Welcome to the show. Let's go ahead and get right on into it, man. I was hoping for a different outcome for the season for my Buffalo Bills. Y'all saw what happened. Lost to them damn Chiefs again, you know. Look at me, man. Look, I had my champagne goggles ready and everything, man. I was ready. See, these aren't ski goggles, these are champagne goggles. These goggles are for celebration. So since we ain't celebrating shit, I'm gonna take these off and show y'all my lack of hairline. The regular hat back on, man, you know. So yeah, we're gonna talk about these damn Bills, man, and what they need to do to get over the hump. So first off and foremost, man, I gotta say that I'm proud of the Bills, man. I'm proud of my squad, man. They had a hell of a season, man. They have nothing to hang their head about, yo. Even though we could have won that game, we have nothing to hang our head about because when you look at that roster and who we had on that roster, and we got that far with that roster, man, that's impressive. I'm not trying to throw any shade at any of the players on the team, man. All the players are good, like they solid players, man. But that was like a Dick Duran / Chan Gailey like roster, man. Like, you know, and we made it all the way to the championship game, AFC championship game, that is. So Mac Hollins stepped up big in that championship game, man. So I'm like, you know, I'm liking the direction of the team despite the loss. I'm gonna do things a little different, you know. So I'm gonna talk about the positives first, then we're gonna talk about what we need to improve on with these with the team, you know. So first off, like I said, the roster, I felt like it was a optimal roster. Like we got the most out of that roster that we could have possibly gotten out of that roster. Like if you gave that roster to Andy Reid like wouldn't have been able, like he would have got as far as we got, you know. So I feel like we have most of the right coaching personnel in position to help us win a championship. But I mean, I didn't expect, to be honest, like I didn't like when the season started, like I'm a fan, so I always expect and hope to make the playoffs. But at most, I was like, yo, we probably might get a wild card. And if we got a wild card, that was a win for us. But the way we were winning and we just got momentum, it was like, hey, expectations increased. Expectations just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was a huge letdown because I thought this was it. You know, Josh Allen, and like I said before, beginning of the season, I said less is more. I said addition by subtraction. That was my whole mantra for the season. No shade to Stephon Diggs. Diggs is a dope receiver in his own right. But to me, the combination of what he brought to the team wasn't going to help us get to where we wanted to get. You know, talent, he's a superb talent, but everything else around it and the attitude and everything like that, to me, you know, took away from the team last year, you know. But I think Diggs was necessary, right? Diggs was necessary in the development of Josh Allen because Josh Allen needed that receiver to kind of show him, hey, look, you know, you can make these throws. But once um, once that um, once that duty was fulfilled, I felt like the cap was already. I felt like that was it for Josh. I mean, for Stephon Diggs. So like I said, Stephon Diggs is a dope receiver. No shade to him, superb talent. But I felt like he was kind of like the training wheels for Josh Allen. He was the training wheels for Josh Allen when he's like riding a bicycle. And I think that when it comes time to when you want to like soar, you got to take the training wheels off. So Stephon Diggs served his purpose. No shade to that brother. But like I said before, man, addition by subtraction. Positives, man. Just man, we were always like the one game we weren't in was that game against Baltimore in the beginning, but that kind of got blown up from the first play of the game. But to all the Buffalo Bills fans out there who are like, yo, we gotta fire Sean McDermott, we gotta start from scratch, we gotta start over. No. We are in good hands. All right. We are in good hands. The way McDermott managed the offensive coordinator last season was, to me, that was a great head coaching move. A lot of people are going to overlook that head coaching move, but it was a dope head. I mean, it was a move that needed to be made, but I felt like that is, when you look at a head coach, you have to treat the head coach like a manager of a team, right? Like, you don't want your head coach doing offensive and or defensive play calling duties. You want to see your head coach hire people, bring in people, and delegate. That's what a head coach does. We all know McDermott is a beast when it comes to being a defensive coordinator, but when he's calling plays, that's not what you want. Whenever you bring in a coordinator as a head coach, you don't want that coordinator doing that thing. You want that head coach to be delegating the responsibilities to people that he can scout out, So head coaching is a very, very tricky business. And I have a lot of respect for it. But anyways, okay, enough of the positive mantra stuff, let's actually, two other things, right? I felt like we did good in the draft. A lot of people think that we messed up by trading back in the draft and letting the Chiefs pick Xavier Worthy, while we got, Keon Coleman. No, I like the pick. Keon Coleman's our guy. When you look at the yards per reception, Keon Coleman had 18 yards he had 18 yards per catch, where Xavier Worthy had 11, even though Xavier Worthy was used more. But what people don't realize is that, let me talk about that trade in the draft right quick, right? So what a lot of people don't realize, all they see is, oh man, the Chiefs got a Xavier Worthy, and Xavier Worthy did a whole lot of good things for them to help them win. Yeah, he did, but you have to look at the fit of the receiver on the team, right? Like that's the key. If the Bills drafted Xavier Worthy where they drafted him or whatever in the first round, to me, he would have been a Marquise Goodwin at best. No shade to Marquise Goodwin, but Marquise Goodwin was more of a gimmick player, like he did punt returns, maybe had one or two big plays when he played with the Bills, but that was it. When you pick a first round pick in the first round, you want someone that's going to raise the floor of that position. And to me, Xavier Worthy is more of a cherry on top / candy treat type receiver, like if you have everything else already in place, then yeah, you get you a Xavier Worthy, you drop him on top, pause, and then you let him do his thing. But when you have other needs at the position, like you can't have a gimmick player come in, especially at his size, because he's a small receiver, and if he came to Buffalo and if they leaned on him with that first round pressure, he would have got his ass hurt. Plus, if you look at our offense, like when you look at how Buffalo was drafting, what Buffalo was trying to do, which we didn't fully do, is the way I felt like we were building our team was we were trying to build our team like a basketball team. We were trying to say, look, we want tall, big body receivers, and we're going to run the ball, and then we're going to throw the ball high and let our bigger players go get it and then bring it down so we can control the clock and control the chains. You know, we don't want super fast, flashy players that can score quick, because when you score quick, that's good. But if you can't manage the clock to control the game, then what's the point? You know what I mean? So I feel like Keon Coleman was the right pick, and it was dope that we traded back, man, because a lot of people don't look at it like when you trade back, you get more picks, and when you get more picks, you get more possibilities of other gems that may be tucked away in the draft. So that was a good move, you know. But yeah, Xavier Worthy's balling out for the Chiefs, you know. And the way Andy Reid calls plays, that fits better for his offense, right? So a lot of people are like, okay, well, why not just draft Xavier Worthy to keep him away from Andy Reid? So Andy Reid got to go find somebody else. Well, guess what that does? That doesn't do shit for us, right? Like, you can't draft hating. You know, you can't just block. Like, if you draft somebody with the sole intent on blocking another player or another team from succeeding with that player when you can't even use that player, it's a loss, right? So Keon Coleman, trust me, will come through. He got to hit the jug machine more, man, because Keon Coleman, the one thing I say about Keon Coleman is in the combine, when he was doing the gauntlet drill, I saw all hands. He was catching the ball with his hands. He was doing this, just hands. That's what I was looking for in the season with Keon Coleman. But then when the balls were being thrown to him, he was catching the ball with his body. So Keon Coleman, if you're hearing this, jug machine, get on it. Like 100 balls a day. Let's do it. Let's get it. So what else, man? Let me go ahead and break down. Let's start with the game, right? Let's start with the championship game from last week. So the refs, we all know the refs, and that we all knew going into Kansas City that the refs were going to do what they do. We all knew that going into the game, right? And even if you look at how the refs were calling the game, they gave us a few calls because they were setting us up for the bullshit, right? That catch by Xavier Worthy wasn't a catch. That was a terrible call. My man had a piece of a hand on the ball, and they were saying that because the ball didn't move when it touched the ground, and then he put his hand on it. Nah, that's bullshit. Sorry, you know, bad call. And then Josh Allen got that first down on that sneak, you know, whatever, right? But what I will say, right, I'm very critical of my team, and I try not to put the game in the hands of the refs. So that opening drive, the way we opened the game up on that opening drive, to me, is where the game was lost. You can't come out doing that gunslinging shit against the Chiefs in Kansas City expecting to win. That was the old offense that we saw under Ken Dorsey, which we knew was not the way. We knew that wasn't the way. So, you know, play calling. So let me go back. Let me just go back and say what I think the issues are, or what one major issue is that I see with the Bills, with my Bills. Or our Bills. It's our team, right? This is a collective. When you study relationships between head coaches and quarterbacks, you know, you look at the Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, you look at Belichick and Brady, right? Like, those two relationships are the standard because they won multiple championships as a group. So when I analyze those two relationships, what I see that is consistent is the head coach was bigger than the quarterback coming in, and the head coach that maintained that gap between, how should I say it? They maintain that gap between the quarterback and themselves. So for example, right, when Brady came along, Bledsoe was supposed to be the man, but Belichick ran the ship, and we didn't know who Brady was. But Belichick always kept Brady in check. Like, if you study their relationship, they were always clashing heads. They were always banging heads. You know, Brady wanted to do more, but Belichick had a way, or a big picture for how he wanted to beat opponents. So with that being said, towards the end of the Belichick Brady relationship, at the end, that's why they faded, right? Because Brady was closing the gap to Belichick with respect to his stardom, and he was like, yo, I run the offense, you do defense, let me do my thing, you know. And Belichick was like, no, we need to. So Belichick was trying to manage the team. He was trying to, you know, do things the Patriot way. And then Brady was like, no, I need players, I need help, you know, I need better play. So when that gap closed, when that relationship gap kind of closed, that's when they were done, you know. You kind of see the same. You don't see the same thing with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, right? But Andy Reid demonstrated and showed that he could be masterful without him before Mahomes got there, right? So when Alex Smith was there, they were in the playoffs. They were competitive, you know. But long story, big picture, where I'm trying to say, long story short or whatever, is the head coaches like were in control of the team, and the head coach had a system, and the quarterbacks played within that system. Like, they did what they did within that system. I don't see that with my Bills, right? Like, when McDermott came, we still had Tyrod Taylor, and we squeaked into the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor. But then when we drafted Josh Allen, it was kind of like this wild card. We didn't really know what we had, you know? And then when Josh hurdled over, or did that hurdle in the Vikings game, we were like, oh, we have an athlete. We have someone that can do all these great, and he has an arm, and he's getting more accurate with it. So what I feel like is happening is, I feel like our system is this, and it's only but so much. And the rest of it is, hey, Josh, go out there and get that win for us. We're going to let Josh be Josh and go out there and get that win. And I don't think that is the path to success. When Josh Allen was under Ken Dorsey, and you kind of saw it, right? You kind of saw how, if you take a step back, you kind of saw what was happening, right? Basically, Ken Dorsey had a basic generic game plan scheme or whatever, and then it was like, hey, Josh, go be Josh, you know? And I lost faith in Ken Dorsey in that Dolphins game where he slammed the keyboard or whatever when we lost the game at the last second. We get down to the goal line and we don't go play action one time. If you get down to the goal line and you don't go play action one time, you deserve to be fired, man, because that's just basic fundamental football. You always, when you're on the goal line, you got to go play action. So you keep the defense honest. You got to keep the linebackers. You got to make the linebackers pause and think, hey, is there a run coming? Is there a run coming? Ken Dorsey lined up Josh Allen in shotgun 3 times in a row. And I'm like, yeah, get this dude. So after that game, I was like, yo, get this dude out of here, man. No offense. I mean, Ken Dorsey's probably a great person, probably a nice guy, but not for my team, you know? So what I kind of took from that was Josh Allen has more control of the offense than we think. Like Josh basically has a lot of control and like a lot of power on the team. So when McDermott fired Dorsey and elevated Joe Brady, what we saw a more conservative style offense where we ran the ball. And I told people, look, our rushing numbers are low, not because we can't run the ball. It's because we choose not to run the ball. But when Brady got in there, when Joe Brady took over the helm and we started running the ball, we started winning games. All my friends were like, yo, Dre, you were saying this all year. I said, I told you. Like, I know how this shit worked. So then we lost when we went away from the run, right? So what has to happen, whether we like it or not, is we have to lead with the run, right? If we started off that first drive in that AFC Championship game running the ball and showed that we can run the ball, everything would have opened up and Josh would have had a field day. He would have had more of a field day. But the problem is they want to let Josh. The offense, to me, starts with the run. It starts with the run. If you get the run game going, it's easy. It's easy as, but when you start off and Josh is doing his thing, it looks nice. It looks pretty. But, you know, if you play another team that's conservative that can run the ball on us, they gonna win. So, yeah. So back to what I was saying with Brady. So with Ken Dorsey, we saw he had no control over Josh Allen. Josh was just doing what he wanted to do. He won games through picks, whatever it was. It was what it was. McDermott made a move, elevated Joe Brady. Joe Brady came in and kind of corralled Josh Allen, and he got us back on track, you know? But then the moment we stopped running the ball and tried to lead with Josh Allen, everything fell apart, right? So what has to happen, in my opinion, is, to take it a step further, I know I'm double backing too much. Joe Brady has this thing where he has like a democratic style of offense, right? He basically goes to Josh Allen, allegedly, and they talk about the plays that he likes to run. And then Josh is kind of like the intermediary between the offensive line and the rest of the offense and Joe Brady. And Josh Allen kind of collects data to say, hey, what plays do we like to run? Then he takes that back to Joe Brady, and then Joe Brady puts it in the plan. That got us to a championship game, but to win a Super Bowl, that shit ain't gonna work. So Joe Brady, if you listening, that democratic style running the offense shit, nah, it's on you. Joe Brady got to put together a game plan to actually strategically take advantage of and to find and exploit the weaknesses of the opponents. Right? We can't do this democratic style shit. Hey, what plays you like? Nah, fuck that. When you go to war, like I'm not a soldier, I'm not a general, you know what I'm saying? But if I use common sense, you know, if you go to war and if you go to battle, generals don't ask the soldiers, what do you want to do? Generals say, hey, you got to get out there and form that flank and hold it down, right? Joe Brady got to be the same way. Joe got to be like, look, man, this is the play we need right here, right now to fit the hole to get us the win or to do what we got to do so we can win the game. So that's something that I'm looking forward to next season, right? Like, if we want a more conservative style offense where we run the ball, we start with the run. I'm going to go out here and say, if we start with the run every game, and then once people bite on the run and we let Josh Allen fly after that, we'll go undefeated. We'll have an undefeated season and we'll win the Super Bowl. It's that simple. But they're not going to do that. So, but here's what I'm looking for though, right? If we don't get away from this democratic style offense where we want to take input to see what people like to run and all that shit, if we don't get away from that, we're not gonna get past the championship game. And if Sean McDermott can't make that move to either, hate to say it, but if we're still doing the same things the same way we were doing it last season, and we're making the same mistakes, and if McDermott doesn't fire Joe Brady, then McDermott got to go, right? Because it's his job to be the overseer, right? And I know we all love Josh. We love when Josh is Josh, right? When he's out there just running around and just making things happen. But there has to be more control to where the game plan is bigger than him. You know, Josh has to fit and play within the system, right? I feel like what's happening is we're like, yo, we got Josh. We're going to just count on Josh to just bail us out. If the game plan is for Josh to bail you out, everybody got to be fired. Everybody got to go, you know? But like I said, I mean, I think that, you know, we showed that we don't need all these fancy players. Like I see a lot of Bills fans in the comment sections and all the blogs talking about, oh, we got to go get T. Higgins. We get T. Higgins. Nah, we don't need no damn T. Higgins, man. The receivers we have are plenty. It's enough. It's more than enough. Because when people don't know where the ball is going, it forces the defense to have to play more honest, right? But when you have one big name receiver that you're just keying up on every time, all your other players don't get the same action. And then when you call on them, they're not going to make the play that you need because they're not getting the action on a regular basis, you know? So to me, I'm like, I don't want to see no T. Higgins. I don't want no big namers. I'm a fan of not having big name receivers on my team. Keep it just the way it is. So, you know, like I said, you know, with the performance after last season, everyone to me deserves to keep their job and all that. But moving forward, Joe Brady, man, got to get away from that all that opinionated input from the offense. It's like it's nice to know what people like to run, but that shouldn't be built into the game plan. The game plan is, hey, if we're playing the Titans and they like to do this, we got to do that. If we're playing the Bengals and we know the Bengals like to do this, we got to do that. You know, I don't care what you like or don't like. I don't want no input on that. This is what needs to be done. You know? What else, man? Another thing, man. So we got to find a way to unlock Kincaid, man. Kincaid to me is like the thing that we have to is the dude we have to unlock. We got to unlock Kincaid, man. You know, because I thought Kincaid was going to be the next Kelsey, but I think due to injury and stuff, he's not really. But he, to me, is like, you know, that to me should be like one of the focuses for next year going in. We got to find a way to make Kincaid a top 3 tight end, because he's a top 3 tight end. Like when I saw what he did in college, he got the potential. We just have to find a way to unlock that. But Kincaid, if you're listening, jug machine. Like, I want to see all my players catching. I want to see all my players catching the ball. This looks weird when I'm doing this. What the fuck is wrong with me? But no, I want to see, look, all my players that are skilled players, I want them catching the ball like this, just snatching that joint. Snatching it. I want to see them snatching the ball out the air, man. A lot of this, like when you look at the tape, they be catching the ball with their body, doing that body. Nah, man, we got to get away from that. Right? What else? Josh Allen. This is for you, Josh. Okay, Josh. This is for you. If you're not already doing it, I hope you're doing it. But if you're not doing this, I need you to get you some of them VR goggles and look at whatever Jaden Daniels is doing with the VR goggle shit. You know, I know you're a little older than Jaden Daniels and he may be part of the video game era, but you gotta try that shit out, man. You know, because when you are playing with the virtual reality goggles on at 3 times the speed of what's really happening, you know, that may have like you got to do it, man. You got to do it because the future is here. Jaden Daniels, like the way he was playing, it's like he sees that shit in like slow motion, and I think that's because he's doing that VR shit. You know, it might not fit like your game style playing right now, but you gotta like just look into it and just play with it, man. Pause. You gotta look into that, man, because I think that if you can see this shit happen like in your mind way before it even happens, it's not gonna be fair because people can't even tackle you. Like Jaden Daniels, here's the thing, right? Jaden Daniels is a wiry player. Like he has a wiry frame, meaning that he knows he can't go head up with nobody. If he goes out there and tries to challenge people to go head up with him, he gonna get his ass hurt. So he plays, so he knows how to like protect his body. But you, Josh, man, you Optimus Prime out in that joint, man. You can just run through people. So imagine if the game slowed down, you can just run through people and make them throws, man. Man, we're gonna have Super Bowl. Man, we're gonna have 3 Pete's, man. 4 Pete's. 4 Pete's. So with that being said, man, I think, like I said, we don't need to do nothing drastic, man. We have to make minor. I think we don't have to do anything drastic this season. I think you definitely, when we draft, we have to draft defense. We have to definitely address the defensive side of the ball. But I think a lot of the issues is just how we're structured and corralling Josh to play within the system. I mean, when I say play within the system, I don't mean take away what he does. It's more of let's have like a general strategy, right? Like, for example, man, we look at Andy Reid, right? I feel like right now, McDermott is where Andy Reid was when he was with the Eagles. Remember when Andy Reid was with the Eagles? He could never get over the hump. And we were always talking about Belichick. Now it's like we're always talking about Andy Reid, but now McDermott is kind of in that boat, right? So what I think needs to happen, man, is, and McDermott is a smart dude. He probably already did this already. He probably thinks about this way more than I do, right? But what I think they need to do, or what needs to happen, is they need to look at all the games where Andy Reid lost. Look at the games where Andy Reid lost and look at who the coordinator was, right? The defensive coordinator. And then look a step further down and look to see who the skill position coaches were on defense, right? Like look at the linebackers coach, look at the defensive line coach. To me, I think the answer to, or the key to beating Andy Reid is you got to go and find the teams or the defenses that gave him the most trouble, and then find the skill position coaches that coached under the defensive coordinator, and you got to bring him in, man. You got to bring him in because they know something about how to beat Andy Reid, man. You know, they know something. With Belichick, basically, Andy Reid's weakness, I'm going to say it, I've been saying this for the longest time. Andy Reid's weakness, his Achilles heel, is clock management. That's what he still struggles with. Because if you notice, in our game that we played, we finished with the ball last. Right? Andy Reid knows how to call all those crazy plays or whatever and stuff, but he's not the GOAT at finishing with the ball last. So we got that part right. Now it's who knows things that we don't know about Andy Reid that we can bring into our organization to give us a leg up. That to me is the key, you know? I mean, we're looking at trying to beat the Chiefs and all that. We got to work, but no, I think we have to bring in another. We have to bring in a coordinator that we don't necessarily have to bring in the defensive coordinator that beat Andy Reid, but we have to have someone that was under that defensive coordinator that comes in. Hey, they could be a linebackers coach. It could be a defensive line. It could be a D-line coach. It could be a D-backs coach. We need one person from that to bring in to unlock, or to figure out how to address or beat Andy Reid. But even with all that being said, if we had what we had, if we had what we have now, and if we were more conservative and just ran the ball on the opening drive of that Chiefs game, we'd have won the game. You know what I'm saying? So, those are my thoughts on fixing the Bills. I feel like we're in the same position that the Eagles were in when they had McNabb and they couldn't get over the hump with Andy Reid. Remember they made one Super Bowl and they almost won that Super Bowl against Philly. I'm sorry, against the Patriots. That was a Super Bowl where McNabb got tired and T.O. was balling out that game. So to me, we might want to study that situation and that game to realize or to understand how we can make that play in our favor to where we can be that version of the Eagles that won the Super Bowl, if that makes sense. So I got a lot of faith in this team. I like where we're going. I feel like even though things didn't end the way we wanted them to end, there's no reason why we can't win back-to-back Super Bowls. There's no reason why we can't 4-peat. There's no reason why we can't 5-peat. If we took that roster that we had to the championship game and lost in the last seconds against the Chiefs, we can 5-peat. All right, that concludes today's episode of Trippin' with Theobold. Thank y'all for listening, man. And with all that being said, I'm out here, folks. Peace. Yep. Trippin' with Theobold.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin'. Trippin' with Theobold.
Trippin' with Theobold.